So let's talk about what we found. Okay, so in Katie's marketing report, what filters do we have? Any report filters?
Date range.
Date range, right? Probably that posting date. Typically most commonly one used, or purchase date maybe. Anything else?
I put quantity purchased in case you wanted to filter for certain range.
Yep, yeah, I could take that, yeah. Quantity purchased. That might be a little bit tough because it's a,
Over a certain amount.
yeah, the problem you're gonna run into is that quantity purchased. In order to find that, it's gonna have to say, well, give me the sum of those, which is really hard to filter on, which is why I put a logo in there. We'll talk about that on Thursday. But yeah, that's a great thing. If, yeah, I only wanna see the ones that purchased X amount or higher or something like that, or lower. Any hard-coded filters?
Bicycle item code or whatever.
Yeah, that item number itself. Right? She specifically said, you know, she wants us to see for bicycles. That could go either way. I can make that a report option, make it a little bit more flexible, or I can make this is the bicycle report. Nothing else. I might move that over to the report option and say, you know what, why don't you go ahead and choose the item you're interested in. So that's one of those that could go either way to me.
If you didn't, so I put on here like quantity greater than 0, because if you didn't specifically put that, would it show everybody and everything?
Well, the way you build your thing, you could build it, you'd want to build it so you would only pull back customers who bought something.
Yeah.
And you would do that based on which table you pull the information from. So we'll talk about that when we get into the next section about which tables do I pull from, which fields am I interested in. So yeah, we would want to just build that into our query the correct table, and bring back the correct information. Because yeah, you know, if I just build this and say, here are all my customers, and then here's the quantity they purchased from us, well, if they didn't purchase anything, they're gonna show up as a 0. Do I really want to list them? So that's something we'd want to filter out.
Can you have a report filter and it also be hard coded?
Not really, no.
So like if you have, let's just say a query where somebody wants to be, you want them to narrow it down to where they can only look at like labor accounts, but you want them to be able to choose within those labor accounts, but you don't want to go outside of that. So you're kind of narrowing the scope
Gotcha.
to what they can look at, but then have the ability to
Gotcha.
choose.
There's 2 ways we can do that, and we'll come back to that. Remind me. That'll be day 2. There's 2 ways we can do that. It really depends on what the structure of the database and what fields we can pull. So I'll show you both ways we can do that. But that's a good point, yeah. It technically is one filter. It's just you're kind of applying the filter to the filter. And we'll talk about that. Okay. Anything else anybody had for report option or hard coded on that one? All right, Scott. What do we have as a report filter?
Put lead time with me.
Lead time, right? Yeah, if you want to find a specific lead time, or yeah, we could definitely do that. Warehouse code, I would definitely take that, right? I want to see a specific warehouse instead of seeing all of them. I've got 50 warehouses. Do I want to sort and pull the report for all of them? No, just when I need the one. Okay. Item, the specific item number, take that. And
Quantity in there.
quantity on hand, right? He specifically said he wanted to be able to have items that have 0 or less than 0. Right? So that might be something we built into it as well. Alright. Sounds good? Good old Bill. What do we have as our filters on here? Yep, posting date. And we're gonna make that a report filter, right?
Mhm.
Chances are he's gonna wanna run this report more than just one time. Anything else?
User ID,
User ID. Okay.
which is hard coded.
Yeah, GL account, he specifically says these 3 accounts, but again, you can make it more flexible. That's one could go either way, right?
But so in that case though, if you make it a report filter, isn't it kind of back to that where it's all accounts?
It is all accounts, unless we filter on it, and we'll talk about that. So, have no fear. And then, yeah, user ID, I heard that one. Most people don't catch that one. But yeah, maybe we run this report, you see the same person's name over and over again, and we're like, how bad is that person doing? And I run it for that person, and we say, oh, well, yeah, look at that one. This one he's got 20, and she's got 5. What is he doing? Why is he constantly tweaking things and doing things wrong? So yeah, user ID is a really good one. So we all got the concept of filtering. You know, when it's a report filter, when it's a hard-coded filter. When do we want to combine them into one thing? Beyond the scope of today. So on 224, this is the part where I start losing people. I have to now find which tables and fields I have to go and get this information from. And where we go to get this information actually does matter. Okay? And all that. So there's a couple ways we can figure out where information is. One is in the Jet browser, assuming only one person's trying to access it. Or we can actually go into Nav and we can use the Zoom tool. We can talk about table descriptions and help. I can't open up Nav because everything's local on mine and it will get mad because Jet's already trying to use it. But within there, actually, let's see if I can open it up. Let's open up my Nav here. See if it'll let me. So within Nav, we're using 2013. I don't know which version you guys are on.
R2.
You're 2012 R2 or?
13 R2.
Oh, okay. Actually, I don't even know which specific one we're on. Let's see.
I think what I was telling you is our version's better.
Probably, yeah. Ours is not R2. Oh, we're on 2015. Even better.
Sorry, Glenn.
Yeah.
I tried.
We recently updated and then updated. We were on an older version and then somebody pulled the trigger and upgraded to, we were on Nav 5 and somebody upgraded us to 2009 by accident. And so everybody scrambled and said, oh, we've got to upgrade again. But one thing I always tell people is if you can go into Nav and you can find that information, right? If I go into my sales orders here, and I find here's a sale, I can click on it. If I can find that information in Nav, I can go to this little drop down, help, about this page. And about this page, it'll tell me what table it's kind of pulling this information from. What fields those various fields represent. So my document type, my number, my address. Now one thing to note, when we get into transactions like sales orders, sales invoices, credit memos, they're broken up into a header and a line item. So even though this says sales header, one thing I do want to look at is when we look at here, the sales header is this general information. I've got these lines down here. For every sales header, there's a sales line table. For every sales credit memo header, there's a sales credit memo line. For each vendor purchase, there's a vendor line. So we want to make sure that even though it only says that it's a header, if you see a header, you know there's a line table associated with it, which is right here. The header has that general information, who we sold it to, their address, etc., etc. And the line has the actual items that they purchased, the quantity, the price, all that information. It's just breaking that information apart. Yeah.
So yesterday we couldn't get to see the database on the line if Control Alt F1 doesn't work.
Is there another way
Do
to
you
it?
know how to
to actually get to that line.
Yeah.
I have tried, in the older version of Nav, it's really easy. In this newer version, it's a pain. I still haven't been able to find it, to be honest. I've even asked my, the Nav experts in the office, and they're like, I don't know how to get to that anymore. Like,
So how do we get there if nobody knows?
well, you don't necessarily need to. You can see it right here, right? I've got my field is type, my field is number, my location code, my quantity.
But what is the name of the table? The table number?
The table, it has to do with if this is, it's all naming convention. If this is sales header, it's going to be sales line.
So,
If it's
okay.
sales invoice header, sales invoice line.
And will it be the next consecutive number or?
Yeah, they're typically right next to each other.
Okay.
But not always.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you
that's the
gotta be
thing,
careful.
is typically when you're doing your reports,
But
don't go based off the table number.
don't go off the table number.
Oh, we went the opposite yesterday. Really?
Well, when you're building Jet, if you know the table number is great, but who knows what table is my customer table?
Okay, just,
So that's one of the
I was
beauties
gonna
of
say, I don't
the,
even see it in the browser, the numbers
yeah.
listed.
If we go into the JFX, right, my table is all listed by name.
Okay, you don't have a number.
I can make it, if you're comfortable with the numbers, we can go into the data source settings, go into display, and change to numbers and captions. So now when I actually open up my JFX and look at a table, and it's not showing up. Why is it not showing up? Did I change the right one?
Ruben, are you gonna do that?
Let's change this. Display changes to captions and numbers. Change this. This should show the table. It's still not showing the table number. That is strange. It's supposed to show the table number. This is a brand new build, probably a week old, so it might be some little glitch in there. So I'm gonna make a little note in here. Why is it not showing in there? But if you're comfortable with the table numbers, you can add that on there so you can see the table name and the table number. But that's up to you. Most people don't know the table numbers.
No. Well, the problem was that yesterday my computer the Control Alt F1 doesn't work
Mhm.
for whatever reason. It opens something else.
Yeah, a lot of times on laptops, you have to actually do Control Shift Alt F1. You have to add an extra key in there because that opens up typically like the screen settings.
Yes.
Yeah, in laptops it's kind of a pain. So people are probably going to run into the same thing.
But if you do Control Shift Alt, would it works?
I think that's the combination. I think you have to add that extra shift in there, or it might be function. Let's see.
You, all of you work on your laptops, right?
Yeah, it's Control Function Alt F1 is the combination to pull up the About This page. So,
Let me try that. Control
Yeah,
Function
I did that
Alt.
and I put mine in
Control
airplane mode.
Function Alt F1. Okay.
yeah, it's with laptops, you never know what Control Alt F1 is going to do, to be honest. Desktops, it works perfectly. So, but if you can find the information in Nav, we can typically find where that information is going to be. If you have access to the development environment, even better, because then we can actually see the tables, the numbers, the fields. Most people don't have access to that. They're going to just have, hey, here's my RTC. I can get in here. This is where I would go to find this information. That's where I'm going to go to find that. Yeah. So anytime I'm working with a client, I never know their database. I never know what's in there. So anytime they're like, well, I need to pull this information, I say, show me where you find it in Nav. We will find it most of the time. Now, there are exceptions to this rule. If Nav creates a temporary table, like when it runs a report, like, oh, I've got this report in Nav, and it builds a temporary table when it creates that report,